Yo, what up, what up, what up? This is the Lazy Philosophers podcast, and we are back in the building. And despite the name, The Lazy Philosopher, I'm going to talk about productivity today in a different way than I talked about it before. So the question was on how to not procrastinate or why do they procrastinate? And I actually think procrastination comes from the not wanting to feel incompetent. I think when a lot of times when we have a hard time concentrating on something, the guy asks, "Why do I have a hard time concentrating?" It's because you just don't know that much about the topic. You know maybe a very cursory amount of information, and so when you're reading, your brain is lacking the amount of context necessary to basically build a world constructively. You know what I'm saying? And and I realized this when I was studying French. So when you're studying another language, you number one, you just don't know the language. I moved to France. I live in France right now, and I don't know any of the language, right? Not when I first got here. And when I first got here, it was almost impossible to concentrate on what people were saying because I did not know the words they were saying, except for a couple that I was exposed to on Duolingo. And over time, it the more study I did, the more I learned, the easier it was to concentrate because the more context I understood. So a lot of concentration issues come from lack of context, lack of actual understanding, lack of knowing more. And so the easiest way to amend context gaps is to, number one, YouTube is your best friend. YouTube the history of the subject that you are getting ready to do before the semester, and then right before your study sessions. Just YouTube the topics that you're going to be into. It's not that you're going to take this YouTube video as dispositive facts. It's just going to build more world building for you. And the more world building you have, the more things make sense. You got to think of it like this. You are writing stories within your mind. And as you're writing these stories within your mind, you need context. And the best stories, the ones that we love the most, are the ones where the authors provided us with enough context to give us meaning, right? And sometimes you can't concentrate because you don't have enough context to have things actually have meaning. You don't know why things are happening the way they are. So rather than reading a book about it, which sounds laborious to a lot of you, maybe not a lot of you, maybe I got smart listeners, but like a lot of people just don't like reading, just YouTube videos, just YouTube podcasts, just listen to a podcast, do something where you don't have to invest actual like energy, but you're still getting context. And as you get more and more context, it'll be easier to concentrate on what happens because you're going to understand why things happen. This works with almost anything, any type of discipline, including mathematics, right? You can look up, all right, what things from algebra 2 am I going to need in pre-cal or linear algebra or whatever? And you're going to be able to integrate more and more of those themes over time. And it's going to make more sense. And you're going to have more of a will to do something. Usually also our brain has a competence protection mechanism where if we don't feel competent, we don't want to do it. It's because, number one, the feeling of incompetence is a very intolerable feeling. And so the better you are at just, number one, understanding this about yourself and being like, yo, this is my incompetence protector. I don't want to feel incompetent, so I'm going to still keep doing it. It's just, I'm frustrated because I hate this feeling. And if you have that emotional transparency with yourself, you're in a really good spot. Anyway, guys, it's a shorter episode than usual. If you want to check out my answer on Quora, there is other information on there. Just thought I wanted to share that tip with you. Like, follow, share, subscribe. If you're not subscribed to me on YouTube, subscribe to me on YouTube. If you subscribe to me on SoundCloud but not YouTube, or YouTube but not SoundCloud, subscribe to me on SoundCloud, or I think I'm on Spotify now. And also share this podcast. As I post more and more, I hope that you guys can share it with other people. I will keep doing these every day because I'm actually having a lot of fun. And I wish you the best. And I want to also say this, in times where I do tend to answer the same questions on Quora repeatedly just because they get exposed to different people, to avoid making the same podcast or saying things that are too similar to where you're not going to get content out of this. There might be episodes where instead of a Quora answer, I riff about a current event or something that happened in life or something, et cetera, et cetera. But I am enjoying posting every day. So that's not going to stop. But some of the information I might share might stop. Anyway, guys, that's been it. Godspeed and good night.